usually have a couple of announcements before we begin again. I asked Susan Bates to come and talk to you about things that are happening downtown.
I thought we were getting ready to do a duo.
Good.
I know. You want to do Islands in the Stream?
Oh, Lord.
You start. Thank you guys for coming. I don't normally ask to get up, and it's nothing really earth-shattering. I just thought I'd take a minute since we had it to tell you about a couple things that are going on. I always like it when Elegant Island Living magazine jumps the ditch and names somebody in Brunswick something special. So we just got named as the best neighborhood bar and grill, and thank you, and also the best place to make a new friend. I know. It's usually you don't find that in a bar. It's a different kind of friend late night. But if you're driving on I-95 and you Google live music venues, or you Google music and bar or whatever, not because I spent any money with Google, but we're the first thing that shows up. So at the very top of the list. So if you drive your customers to search for you, or when they're searching for you, you'll automatically rise to the top of that list and not have to spend a whole lot of money with Google and Yelp and all that. So I'm lucky about that. So when that happens, I get people off I-95 all the time that are in here. They were looking for a small mom and pop place that they could have lunch or dinner, and mostly they're looking for live music. Sometimes I get musicians that are routing through the southeast, and of course they're taking I-95 and they're looking for pickup gigs. So they're looking to maybe just get dinner and a little bit of money for gas, so they're not looking to make a whole lot of money, just pick up a gig. So one of those will be here Saturday night, and it's the Joey Tenuto Band, and they're out of Miami, and their family band, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Pat Metheny from back in the day, but that band plays with Pat Metheny. So I get this band because we happen to be on their route. So and the lead singer, it's the second time they've been here actually, and the lead singer, Joey, has magnificent hair. Everybody's hair in here together isn't as magnificent as this guy. And he leaves it all up, and then when just the moment is just right and the crowd is right there on the edge, he'll take that down. Kind of like how Skip starts the day. The other thing is you got to be careful what you put on social media and your opinion out there, right? Because it doesn't really matter what you put out there. Somebody's going to say, I can't believe they said that. So I put out on social media a couple months ago that I was having a hard time getting through this Netflix special about Bob Dylan. I don't know if anybody has seen it or not. It's horrible. I know, and if you love Bob Dylan, I just said some sacrilegious words. So I said, it's not Bob Dylan that's horrible, it was the special. It was Martin Scorsese too, it was just all kinds of weird that it was awful. But because I said that, one of my very favorite bands took me to task on it, and they were just so offended. They wrote me a private message about it, on how deeply it cut them that I said something terrible about Bob Dylan. I'm like, I didn't. I just said I didn't like the special. So I tried to turn that around into a positive. So this Friday night, that band, which is Pine Box Dwellers, which is one of my very favorite bands, they're going to be here, and I asked them if they would please do a Bob Dylan tribute. So there'll be some Bob Dylan music in here Friday night from 9 until midnight with one of our very favorite, and we're really lucky to have them bands, Pine Box Dwellers. They just won the State of Georgia Country Music Association Band of the Year. They're very, very, very good. We get lots of incredibly talented musicians in here. I'm very selective at this point. I'm working on, probably in a couple of months, I'll have hit our 1600th live music performance in here in 7.5 years, yeah.
What time does your live music start?
Depends on the night, and depends on the band as well. Tomorrow night, every Thursday night, I've got live music with Crawford Perkins, who owns SoGlo Guitar Gallery here. He's here from 7 to 10. So it's a little bit earlier for people that have to go to work in the daytime. I used to be a daytime worker person, so I totally appreciate that. I also appreciate the fact that I can stay up now any night until about 3 in the morning. So weekends, so Friday and Saturday, the music generally starts at 9, goes till midnight. Sometimes it's earlier, sometimes it's an 8 o'clock band. We don't have live music on Sunday. However, we are just now collaborating this morning on putting a songwriter showcase in here on Sundays, the second Sunday of every month. So look for that. There'll be some interesting collaborations on that. So I appreciate the time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I really like that phrase, instead of saying, for all you old people who knew this, back in the day sounds just so good. So thank you. I'm feeling good. Okay, our next presenter is Marti Tolleson of Two Friends.
Good morning. As Skip said, I'm Marti Tolleson. I am owner of Two Friends, my husband and I. I'm a small town girl. We moved here about 9 years ago from Perry, Georgia. Grew up in Hazelhurst, if any of you are familiar with Hazelhurst. I grew up with parents who are entrepreneurs, and from the time I was about 10 years old, my daddy had a feed store and would put me on Coca-Cola crates behind the counter, and as they would stroll the feed out to load up into the gentlemen's trucks, I would get to write the tickets and get to talk with all the fun gentlemen who would come in. So I've had a lot of wonderful people who have poured into my life over the years, as far as the people who were part of the business as shoppers and visitors, and a lot of them who would just come and chew the fat with my granddaddy, who also was there. And my mom worked in the business as well, and that was in the 70s, late 70s. And so now, kind of fast forward from there, my mom, when Urban Cowboy started coming out and was kind of, Western wear was kind of the big thing around 1980. She opened a Western store. I grew up showing horses and selling saddles and wearing cowboy boots and what have you, and grew up in more of the retail side of a clothing Western wear business. Went to college, said I would never do retail again in my life. Hated it. I was like, no way am I ever going to do this. I got a degree in public relations and marketing from Georgia Southern University, and loved my time there. As I finished college, went back to Hazelhurst, got a job as director of public relations at the local hospital there. Then I moved to Perry, Georgia, and after that worked for the hospital in Perry, and then met my husband, met his entire family the day after I started to work, but I never met him. Lo and behold, the good Lord just had a plan for us. We've been together for 26 years. And after I left the hospital, I worked as the development director at an independent school also in Westville. And then around the 99-ish, I had a girl come and move into town. And we had a realtor friend who said, this young couple's moved into town, would you invite them to Sunday school? I said, you know what, I would love to. Invited this couple to Sunday school. We were fast friends, and hence we have this store called Two Friends. And sometimes people are like, well, who are the two friends? And we were business partners for 9 years until right about the crash time, and she had had properties in Cashiers, North Carolina. So she and her family moved up there to be a part of, I kind of say that's where her eggs were in the basket, and she needed to tend those. And then lo and behold, we moved to St. Simon's in 2010. And I took a year to really pay attention. Oh, let me back up. So we had the store in Perry. It was going great. We, of course, made it through the down years in a down economy. But from the time we opened in the year 2000, so we've been this will be our 19th year in business, we saw a nice nice, steady incline of our business, even through those down years. We also suffered a fire in the downtown area of Perry, which is much like downtown Brunswick. It was a summer storm, Father's Day weekend, lightning struck one in building, and it kind of whooshed through. So we kind of had to reevaluate and move out and liquidate. We had a lot of smoke damage, and we really thought, we're just not going to try to do this again. We couldn't. Our landlord would not cooperate in getting our building back to where we needed it to be, and at the last minute, we had a building open up, and we reopened and kept the ball rolling. So for 19 years, we've been rolling right along. However, when she moved to North Carolina, I ended up buying her out. So now it's just me. So we moved here back in 2010, and in 11, I finally, after just really watching the market, we looked at downtown Brunswick, we've looked at Jekyll, and we looked at St. Simon's. We selected Redfern Village as our location. At the time that we were looking, there were lots of empty storefronts, and it was kind of a ghost town. And in my heart, I just knew that was where we were supposed to be. Again, I have a large faith and believe that the Maker puts us where we need to be, and we found a small little building of about 1,200 square feet, opened in that, and it was wonderful. And I still had my Perry store, so I was driving back and forth, servicing both stores. I then, in 13, opened a third store across the parking lot. If many of you may remember where Tommy Lee Carpets was there, or Rare Bits, in the Rare Bits location. I put an antique home furnishings business, home interiors with antiques and art and what have you there. And ended up selling my Perry store, which was wonderful because we had teenagers in high school, and I did not need to be on the road. I needed to be mama and be in town. And of course, when you get sand between your toes, as I was telling this young lady, there's something about not wanting to leave the area. We just have loved being in the coastal area here. So, sold Perry. After having the business in the old Rare Bits location, we were able to work out an opportunity to purchase that building, which has been the best thing in the whole wide world. We took that building, combined the two businesses that we had here. I have about 4,000 square feet of retail space in that building. And we also house Watermark's printing in the other side of the building. And we have just seen a nice steady incline. We saw the economy, as we all know, kind of turn around. Redfern Village has become again a shopping and dining destination, which is wonderful. And the building that I'm in has its own dedicated parking, which is just unbelievable, because if many of you have been to Redfern, try to find a parking place, it's kind of tough. But if you're after hours or you're shopping with me, you can park anytime, anywhere. So, one of the things that we attribute the success to this business to is I'm always, and I think it's that little bit of an entrepreneurial side to me, is learning how to pivot. When something's not working, or you see a change in the way society's moving or what have you, is knowing when to let go and pivot to another area. And that, I have to say, has probably been one of my, I learned that from my dad. I've watched him through the years with his businesses, figuring out where he needs to move to keep his business strong and going for almost 50 years now. I also attribute success to social media. And for small businesses today, I think we have to be, you know, it is a booger and there's a lot to it. But with our society shopping the way it shops these days, you know, they're Amazon and online retail is tough to compete with. But I think there is that consumer out there who still wants that, much like you said, the mom and pop bar, the mom and pop store. They want to be able to walk in and have a friendly face and have it gift wrapped and have me carry it to their car for them, and or take it and deliver it to their Aunt Susie down the street because it's her birthday or what have you. One of the things that we also realized is that because of where Redford Village is located, we have visitors who come from all over the world. Mainly in the United States and Canada, but we have visitors from everywhere. And one of the things that we also recognized was when we were looking at how do we grow our business? How do we continue to see an increase? And so we looked at other footprints and opening other stores, and I just kept thinking, I really want to grow my online business. I don't think I'm tapped out in our location because we have so many visitors who visit who would probably go home and shop if my online store was what it needed to be. So one of the things that we created was this lookbook, and this is from last year, and I have these on the table if you're interested. But this was a wonderful item that we could put into our visitors' hands as they left, and it was a pretty reminder of where they had been. Of course, it has all of our social media information in it, so when they got home and they pulled out their shopping bag, they had this that they could refer back to. And we have a little more than doubled our online business in the last 2 years, which has been a wonderful thing. So, for those of you who may be in that business, any business where you need a website or you are uncertain if social media will work for you, give it a try. We do a weekly, every Sunday night at 8 o'clock, we're consistent with a YouTube video called Behind the Yellow Door at Two Friends. And I don't know if any of you are on my list to get that, but that has been a really powerful thing. And it just gives just a little brief overview every week of what's new or what's happening in our area. It's not necessarily selling, it's sometimes just telling.
Good, thank you very much, and please take a couple of seats. All right. How seasonal is your business?
That is so interesting. Most people think that our business is the busiest in the summertime. No.
Really?
No. Think about it, y'all. Think about when you go on vacation, okay? So I have clothing, I have gifts, I have home accessories, I have artwork, I have lamps, I have men's items, I have a lot of everything. When you go on vacation, you've already bought your bathing suits, you've bought your clothes, you've bought your flip-flops, you've bought your pool bag, you've got all that. When you on vacation, you want to go to dinner with your family, you want to go play putt-putt, you're doing all of those things. So for us, the people who visit in the summer are trinket buyers. They'll pick up a $20 pickup gift. The spring and the fall for us is huge, huge. Starting in March, April, May, and then it'll be kicking in here now that school gets started, August, September, October, and November. So those are my seasons. Summer is not really it.
That's very interesting. Another question.
What's the relative size, just in round numbers, of your online versus your in-store sales? Just kind of give me that name.
I would say 10%. So I feel like I've got a lot of room to make that grow.
Another question, please. Okay, go ahead.
You had mentioned how you decided to go online. Did you get consulting help, or did you just dive in yourself?
You know what? What is so interesting is I spent a lot of money for a website with 2 different people, and I never got what I needed. Never got what I needed. And I said, you know what? I'm not a dummy. And there's some user-friendly sites out there. I can build my own. So my online store is powered by Shopify, which is a very easy back-end platform that I did myself. So I did it, and it worked great. And about 2 years into it, I realized when I was looking into doing a little more to really start driving the business to the site, I needed to take it up a notch. And that's when I really sought some help with a company out of Atlanta called Nicely Built. And the owner of that company was someone I had met before. And so I was able to work with her, and she does mostly Shopify stores. So I had specifics now, because I'd already been up and running. I knew what I needed to happen, and I knew what I wanted it to look like. So it was very easy at that point for me to communicate that. Where before, maybe me working with these other 2 firms, either they weren't getting me or I wasn't communicating right to get what I needed. So that's why I took it to myself.
Another question.
This was Brooke Roberts, local girl. Yep. She did a great job.
Do you do any collaborations with local companies?
Yes.
Or local designers, artists?
Yes, do a lot. And as you said, Rachel, collaborate, to me, it's not competition. One of the things I think sometimes we can get so caught up in that store's doing that and that store's doing that. I'm kind of like you. I've just always been taught, we're better when we're stronger together. So yes, we collaborate. We love our locals that help. This was actually Brooke Roberts and Emily Burton who helped me lay this out. And I think Tammy worked with Candace and worked with Tammy back there, and yeah.
Another question. All right, yeah. I'm sorry.
Right now, video. I use it YouTube. I use Instagram stories. I use Facebook Live. One of the things that has also worked really, really well for us is having a private Facebook group that I call my VIPs. And it's a platform where I can be a little more casual and ask questions and get feedback. And, oh, we just got these shoes in. What do you think? Do y'all like them? Or I'm thinking about ordering this. Do y'all like this color? Do you like the profile? What do you like? Trying to listen to my audience, trying to listen to my customers. That's been very effective.
How many followers?
I have 22,000 Facebook followers, and I am almost to 15,000 Instagram followers. And I see that growing.
That's pretty impressive.
Every day. On Instagram, I have, and it's all a part of there's a huge strategy behind it. Your hashtags lead to your followers. It's the darndest thing. It's the darndest thing. I've also just started somewhat of a consulting group called the Retail Collective, which is an area where small business owners can come together and we can share ideas and tips on how to grow our business digitally. In addition to, what are the struggles that small business owners face. And that has been a very interesting group. I realized I had some followers on Instagram who were other small businesses. And I just reached out to them one day and said, hey, look, if you're going to be in Atlanta for a market, I'll have a little cocktail party and we can all meet. let me back up. I was asked in January to be a speaker on a panel at America's Mark for social media strategies, which kind of opened the door for some of these other businesses to start following me. So I realized that was happening. And so when I reached out, I had over 100, I now have 108 other small business owners who have reached out and said, I want to be a part of whatever you're doing. So there's a need for those of us, and when I had my cocktail party in Atlanta, the average, the youngest business was 10 years old. The oldest business was over 30 years old. So what that said to me is there are a lot of us in business who realize that we need to take our business to the next level, but how do we do it with that thing that we carry around in our pocket every day? And that really makes the difference. And it's not overly complicated.
All right, one more question. All right, if not, I know how men love to shop, and it's a cool store though. It's really a nice place to come to. And thank you. And again,
I tell Skip this. It's called a gentleman's store because you men, if you have women in your life, that's where you should be shopping.
Bless your
may
heart.
we have a show of hands of men who she has saved. There we go. Woo-hoo. Here's some swag.
Oh,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
it. Good. There we go. All right, thank you. That was absolutely wonderful. Everybody has a story. Even if you've been around for a long time, you go back to your story. And I think that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you. The next time we meet is September 4th. Is that right? Is that good? We're also going to introduce a new thing. Susan suggested it would be sort of cool once a quarter if we invite back some of our prior presenters. So we will have a session called
Where are they now?
Where Are They Now? And Jennifer Zamudio and Tammy Flush will be back there and will join us and give us an update of what has been going on. They were actually some of our first presenters. And we just want to hear what's happening. And I think it's all good, I hope. So thank you all very, very much. We'll see you next month. Thank you.